pangani click subscribe button kuti nthawi zonse mzilandira ma notifications kapanga upload new videos on our channel Malawi News Daily Updates. Zikomo kwambiri.
A very lovely evening. I am Benedetta Chimwendo with the news. First, the headlines. MCP Secretary General remanded at Maula Prison. Kama paints gloomy picture of Malawi's economy in 2026. And in our special report, Isaac Salima focuses on how drug abuse continues to rob the country of its productive young people. We have these and other stories. Please do stay with us. The Malawi Congress Party MCP Secretary General Richard Chimwendo Banda has been remanded at Maula Prison in Lilongwe after being discharged from hospital where he was receiving treatment. Chimwendo Banda's lawyer George Jiverson Kadzipateke has confirmed the development. Kadzipateke says Banda will be awaiting a High Court ruling on his bail application he made last week. He explains.
I can confirm that he has indeed been discharged from the hospital, and since he is already on a remand, he has been committed to Maula Prison, so that is where he is. You will understand that last week we made an application for bail before the High Court, but the ruling for the bail application has not yet been delivered up to now, so we are still waiting for the ruling on our application for bail.
Earlier this month, police in Lilongwe arrested Banda on allegations of attempted murder he allegedly committed in 2021 together with another suspect, Alfred Dala Kadula. Consumers Association of Malawi, Kama, says there is no hope that things will get better next year. The Consumers' Rights Body has since described 2025 as tough year economically for their members. Isaac Salima reports.
But currently, there is nothing much being done on the ground to resuscitate the economy, hence no hope for better days coming.
No, we should not hope. We should be doing something. Currently, we are not doing anything in the country to generate that engine for economic growth. So if we are not doing anything, it will be difficult for us to be hoping from nothing. And it will depend on what happens. But otherwise, I don't see this economy coming out of the challenges that we have had in the past. Currently, we are even borrowing more money for consumption. And that becomes a big challenge when you look at the hope that we would want to see.
UTM spokesperson Felix Njawala said that currently it is difficult to measure the gains after the elections.
Probably before the elections, we all know exactly what has been the status of our economy. And after the elections, we are still monitoring to see how the DPP government will convert the economy from where it was, to where Malawians would probably want it to be.
Small-Scale Business Operators Association of Malawi General Secretary Tenson Mulimbula said that most local entrepreneurs suffered in the year ending 2025.
According to the report that we have gathered from our members across the country, it indicates that there were lots of challenges that were not conducive for doing business in the country. And these challenges are ranging from the scarcity of fuel, the scarcity of forex, intermittent power supply, fluctuation in prices of goods.
The country went to pause on September 16th this year, where it ushered into power the Democratic Progressive Party administration. Minister of Finance Joseph Mwanamveka last week said that the country's economy is on the right track to recover as they have put in place measures and policies to resuscitate it.
After realizing that cheap liquor sold in sachets was posing a health risk to the country's youth, government in 2015 issued a ban against it. However, with the passage of time, the situation has not changed. Those selling the illicit merchandise have started packaging almost the same products in glass bottles. In this special report, Isaac Salima also focuses on how drug abuse continues to rob the country of its productive young people.
It is around 8 on a Wednesday morning in the populous Remanded township in Blantyre. As most people are rushing for their daily activities, Elliot, of course not his real name, is already drunk. He staggers his way outside one of the shabins to ease himself. As he came back to continue partaking in the unholy water, we invited him aside for a chat. He says there's nothing he can do as he is unemployed. He added that it is for this reason that he resorted to spiral himself on a daily basis. Elliot said that he relies on piecework at Remanded Market. On the day of our visit, it was unlikely that he would manage to do the piecework in his drunken state. And Maria sells local distilled cachaso beer at the place. She is 25 and already a mother of 3. She told us that she dropped out of school years back and ventured into the cachaso selling business. And one of the imbibers chipped in and said that some of them are drunk as early as 7 in the morning. Several shabins lie along the Remanded township's main area around BTC shop. The place is busy every hour as people take turns in spoiling themselves. One of them, Gilbert, told us that they go for something that is a bit affordable. One by one, the country continues losing its productive young people who are into alcohol abuse. The cheap and affordable alcohol compounds the problem as the imbibers do not need much to make themselves happy.
We have nothing to do. Most young people are jobless in this country. We are appealing to the government to support the youths, women, girls, and everyone in this country.
Another liquor seller at Remanded Township said that on a good day, she makes about 30,000 waja. Last year, the sale of local distilled beer and other imported spirits made headlines when the infamous Ambuyan Tengeni claimed the lives of some young people at Manasseh Township in Blantyre. Police had to swiftly come in to control the situation by invading in the unlicensed beer sellers and confiscating the beer products. However, the business now continues. Southwest Region Assistant Police spokesperson Andrew Mayao said that they still conduct the operations.
A person who is selling alcohol has to be issued a license. And when we come to issues of licenses, it's an issue that is handled by Blantyre City Assembly. In addition to that, there is a standard of the beer that is being sold or the liquor that is being sold. And now, when we come to standards, we are now involving the Malawi Bureau of Standards. So, whenever the Malawi Bureau of Standards has got their own operations to do with the arresting people who are selling substandard products, they do engage us.
Drug Fight Malawi Executive Director Nelson Zakeyu said the country can control importation and sale of unregulated alcohol if the policy was prioritized.
Be reminded that we already have the national alcohol policy, which was approved by the government in way back in 2017. This policy contains a lot of good stuff in regarding to how we can tame this problem. But we are not utilizing the document, probably for other reasons.
Executive Director for Young Achievers for Development, Jefferson Milanzi, blamed it on an implementation of alcohol policy.
In fact, we have a long way in terms of policy. Let's talk about alcohol policy. We have it, but it's not functional. So as SAPA, I also represent Southern Africa Alcohol Policy Alliance here in Malawi. That's what we are doing as a network to ensure that government and other stakeholders, they make sure that the policy is put into effect.
Blantyre City Council Chief Executive Officer Dennis Chinsewu said that they still conduct routine patrol exercises in liquor selling points.
So what we have come up with is a position where we should make it some sort of a routine inspection, but of course being mindful of the cost implications, we have plans maybe to be doing it half year, and if funds permit, then we can even extend it to quarterly. Well, the problem is huge. I think you are aware that moving around town, we have so many unlicensed liquor selling points.
Nzuzu-based St. John of God Hospital Services year-by-year analysis beginning 2022 figures indicate that substance use disorders are rising, with 2025 already posting highest numbers, with alcohol being leading cause. According to the figures, men represent almost all cases, with the most affected age range being 20 to 39. It says, for example, out of 101 cases registered in 2022, multiple substance disorder had the highest number cases, while 85 cannabis-related issues had 13. Malawi's long-term development blueprint, Malawi 2063, aims to transform it into an inclusively wealthy country. The vision, among other things, is focusing on human capital development as a key enabler through improved education, health, and productivity. This is likewise and key in also achieving sustainable development goals. However, if the country continues losing young and productive people due to excessive alcohol and drug abuse, where will it get human capital as an enabler?
That's our special report by Isaac Salima. Access to sexual and reproductive health services has improved in rural communities of Usisia in Kata Bay following sustained interventions by government and development partners. Youth Coordinator for Youth and Reproductive Health Rights at Usisia Health Center says access to these services increased by at least 28% between 2024 and 2025. Feston Maligezo reports.
The youth coordinator, Kevin Ngwira, said family planning services, particularly for young people, were previously difficult to access due to factors such as low confidence among the youth. Ngwira adds that access to sexually transmitted infection, treatment, and HIV testing and counseling was also low. He says, for example, in 2023-2024, only 78 young people accessed HIV testing and counseling services, with 3 initiated on ART. This year, the number has risen to over 100, with about 8 young people already initiated on ART. Ngwira attributes the improvement to support from organizations such as Tema Malawi, which has been raising awareness on youth-friendly health services.
After going around the schools, educating youths, girls, we have seen an impact. We have seen an increased number of girls coming to our facility for family planning services. This will help in reducing teenage pregnancies, which is a great impact, especially when it comes to deliveries that would, at the end of the day, bring a lot of complications, especially when these youths get pregnant as early as 14 years.
Meanwhile, Kondwani Bota, Programs Director for Tema Malawi, says the organization remains committed to strengthening sexual and reproductive health services in hard-to-reach areas like Usisia. Tema Malawi has been working in the area for 21 years.
Indian High Commissioner to Malawi, Amram Gujari, has pledged to strengthen Malawi's education sector during his tenure, committing India's support to schools and institutions that serve vulnerable communities. Gujari made the commitment during a visit to DMI St. John's Baptist University where he toured the campus and interacted with management and staff. Brenda Kayo reports.
Gujar says education will remain one of his key focus area over the next 3 years, noting that India is key to support public and government schools through partnership, donation and capacity building initiatives.
My endeavor is also to reach out to as many as schools, especially government school, public school, because they need the more support from the development partner countries or donor countries. So this, during my 3 years tenure, this would be also one of my focus area where I would try my level best to reach out to the schools.
Vice Chancellor for the university, Amaraj Ambrose, welcomed the pledge, saying his institution looks forward to closer collaboration with the Commissioner to promote quality and accessible education in Malawi.
By the collaboration with the government of Malawi, he just wanted to encourage us. And we will have a tie-up with the Indian Commissioner of India to promote the education.
Beyond offering affordable high education across its campuses, DMI is also involved in community services, skills training, women rehabilitation programs, and different capacity building initiatives.
The International School of Seers, ISOS, on Monday graduated more than 200 students in diploma programs in theology, leadership and business innovation, marking the largest graduation cohort in the institution's history. The graduation ceremony, held at the Bingu International Convention Center in Lilongwe, brought together students from different countries and professional backgrounds, with ISOS Chancellor Professor Shepard Bushiri presiding over the congregation. Wezi Gausi reports.
By virtue of the authority vested in my office, I award these candidates diplomas in theology, leadership, business and innovation.
In his address, Bushiri described the graduates as pioneers and says they were living proof of faith and academic excellence that exists side by side.
As you know, I don't teach theory. I teach practical skills.
He says the graduation marked a major milestone for the institution following its official accreditation and a continuing professional development.
So what we're trying to do, we are calling for all leaders across the world that we should not just preach the word, but we should also raise skills. And this is why we have got ISOS here in our ministry, which is actually skill-based. We are training our people to develop different type of skills.
One of the graduates, His Majesty Chris Ezekiel Nkosikona, a traditional chief from South Africa, described the program as transformative and timely for leaders serving both faith and society.
It is very important to upgrade education, especially now, because if you look at the economy, it's not balanced. We need to balance the imbalances of the past by arming ourselves educationally.
The ceremony drew families, church leaders, and invited guests from Malawi and beyond, celebrating what ISOS described as a new chapter of accredited excellence in faith-based education.
In international news, China is holding military drills around Taiwan, simulating the seizure and blockade of the island's key areas as a warning against separatist forces. The Army, Navy, Air Force and Rocket Force have been dispatched for the drills, which include live fire exercises, the Chinese military said. Codenamed Justice Mission 2025, the drills are taking place days after the U.S. announced the sale of one of its largest weapons packages to Taiwan worth $11 billion, which is about 8.2 billion pounds. That move drew sharp protest from Beijing, which in turn sanctioned U.S. defense forces. Taiwan's push to ramp up its defense this year has also angered Beijing, which claims the self-ruled island as its territory. And that's the news, but before we go, the headlines again. MCP Secretary General remanded at Maula Prison. Kama paints gloomy picture of Malawi's economy in 2026. And in our special report, Isaac Salima focuses on how drug abuse continues to rob the country of its productive young people.
Pangani click subscribe button. Kuti nthawi zonse mzilandira ma notifications kapanga upload new videos on our channel Malawi News Daily Updates. Zikomo kwambiri.